Okay, let's talk about configuring to an OpenSSH server. SSH is probably the most common way to connect to a Linux server across the network. We connect to it, it's kind of like Telnet, except that it's secured, so it gives us a connection to the command line through a virtual terminal, and then we can issue commands, do whatever we need to do from the command line while we're connected to the server remotely. Now, when you installed Ubuntu Server, it gave you the option to install OpenSSH Server. You can check and see if you have it installed by issuing the command which sshd. And if you installed it, it will come back and tell you. Now, I did not install it, so it doesn't identify the SSHD. If I want to check my SSH client, I can do which SSH, and that'll show me that I do have the SSH client installed. So I want to go ahead and install the OpenSSH server. So the command is sudo apt install OpenSSH-server. And if you don't have the client, it's the same thing, sudo apt install OpenSSH-client. So I'm going to go ahead and install it here, and this will take just a second. You can see it's moving right along here. Now, we're going to potentially talk more about securing OpenSSH a little bit later on. For the moment, there's just a couple of things that I want you to see here. Let's issue the command systemctl status SSH. And remember systemctl, that's system control, and that lets us manage a lot of our background processes or daemons. And so here we have the OpenBSD secure shell server, so SSH. It is currently loaded and active, so everything looks good from this side. We can also see if we have ports open for it by issuing the command sudo ss, and I want to do -tulpn, so TCP, UDP, a whole bunch of options of PN, not PT. Um, Show me my port numbers, the whole thing. So you can do SSH-help to look at all of your options, but I'm just going to do the TULPN right now, and I'm going to pipe that to grep SSH. And that will show me that I've got a couple of listeners open for TCP. And it's the user is, and you see it there in red, the SSHD. And you'll see the ports is listening on 0.0.0.0:22. So any IP address port 22. And then here, the colon means any IP or IPv6 address port 22. So my SSH OpenSSH server is running and I've got active ports open. So my OpenSSH now is ready to receive clients. So there's a couple of different ways I can do this. So I can do SSH, and I'm just going to do this to the local host. And it tells me, all right, I'm not sure who this local host is. We can't establish their identity. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? I'm going to say, yes, I do. And so it permanently adds localhost to the list of known host addresses, and now it's prompting me to log in. So here, notice I was David at demo. Here it's connecting me to David at localhost. Now notice it doesn't ask me for a username. It assumes I'm going to connect using the username I'm logged into this system as. But I'm going to go ahead and log in, and that gets me connected. And then if I exit, it's going to take me back, connection to localhost closed. Okay, great. So SSH localhost is going to connect me to the local host using whatever username that I'm already connected into. What happens if I want to connect as somebody else? Well, I'm going to look real quick because I can't remember which computer or which users I've created on here. So I'm going to cat etc password. And I'm going to find, all right, we're going to use a Smith. So I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to do SSH a Smith at localhost. And that's going to connect me to localhost using the A Smith account. So now it's asking me for A Smith at localhost password. Put in password, and I'm not sure that I have the right password for A Smith now that I think about it. Anyway, if I did have the correct password, you'd see that it's actually allowing, or it's giving me the option to log in as that particular user. That's what I wanted you to see. I might have to change A Smith's password so I know what it is in the future, just in case I need to use it again. But that'll let you come in as another user. Okay. Also, if you do, let me go ahead and Control C to break out of here. If you want to do another port number, it's -P and then whatever port number that you're actually using. And that's how you'd connect to a different port number. Okay, so that is a really basic connection to an SSH server.